And we are on. Welcome back to another podcast from Nobody Cares About Dad. Martin bopping away there to the theme tune.
Right, the theme tune, sing the theme tune.
Mate, do you know, it's funny. Every time I hear that, I'm like, I must listen to the rest of that song because I actually quite like it. But I always forget it. And then the next time we do the podcast, I go, I must listen to the start of that. I'm going to do it tonight. I'm going to listen to the song tonight. How are you, mate? You good?
Oh, good, mate. We haven't done one of these.
We haven't done one. It's a couple of weeks. 2 weeks, yeah, and I haven't really spoken to you in a little while either. We've been doing the dad reacts and talking quite regularly, but slowed up on that recently. But how have you been?
Yeah, really good, mate. Really good. Enjoyed the Easter and the May bank holiday, the April bank holidays. We've had two.
Sure.
Got one coming up this weekend.
Yeah,
be before this comes out, which will make no sense in the timeline.
Yeah, this is like my prediction I did when we had Derek on the first time, and I wore the Italy shirt, and I said, by the time this comes out, Italy would have won the Euros, and they did. Oh, actually, here's a prediction. So tonight it's 140 million on the Euro Millions lottery. So by the time this comes out, I would have won the Euro Millions lottery.
I haven't bet on it, but if you do win it, can I have something?
You can have something, mate.
Yeah, nice house, car.
Yeah, I get a nice house in Grantham.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Cost me what? 20 grand.
Mate, what is that?
Right, look. Enough of us. Let us bring in tonight's guest, all the way from Austin, Texas, my favorite city in the US. We have Beth Webster. Beth, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. Yeah, actually, that's a complete lie. I'm not fantastic. Actually, I'm ill again. Like I feel like this last
the COVID. I've been watching you.
Yeah, I had COVID recently, and then
my violin for you.
Yeah, keep playing. I've got a charity football game on Thursday, on soccer game on Thursday. At quite a decent stadium here, and my wife got ill the other day, and I was like, "Do not come near me with that cold because I do not want to be ill for Thursday." And today I've started with the tickle and the runny nose. I had COVID 4 weeks ago, so I can't imagine it's COVID again.
All I'm hearing is Thursday night excuses. Relining them up, so when you've had a mare, you can be like, "I was poorly, is what it is."
But sorry, I was so bad.
And if you were amazing, you'd be like, "Weren't ill, haven't been at all."
Yeah, true. Probably true. Beth, how are you doing? How are things over the pond?
Well, we are going through a drought, which is horrible. And I'm from New York, and I'm not used to this. I feel it makes you feel like you shouldn't breathe. You shouldn't take a shower.
Yeah.
And we've gotten like 200,000 more people into our city, and we didn't get a new reservoir. So it's like, and they came, we had 2 good years, and everybody's like, yay. And now we're back. They call them El Nino and some other Nina. And I don't know what it means. It just means it rains and it doesn't rain. So we had rain yesterday, and you would have thought it was manna from heaven. And there were people who just moved here, and they're like, what are these people doing?
People dancing in the street.
Yes, and holding their mouths open and just crying. Yes. And all these new Californians are like, what is happening?
What are we
Yeah, I was going to say you've had an influx from California, haven't you? From Texas.
My God, our house values are like. Unfortunately, we decided to rent. We missed the boat on this. We missed a lot of boats.
Yeah,
people's homes have doubled. It's just crazy. But we forgot to tell these Californians that we don't have water. We just forgot to mention it. It's coming up now.
I remember, as I mentioned just before the podcast, my friend lives in Houston, and he brought a house just before COVID, I think it was. Honestly, Martin, you see the size of this mansion that he lives in, and it's like it costs the same as my little 3-bedroom detached here, but it's got a pool, it's got everything.
Yeah. I saw I think it was a TikTok. Everything's on TikTok these days, and it showed it was like literally the value of houses and what you'd get in the UK and then different areas in America and stuff. And what we get over here is ridiculously bad.
Although they do sting you on the property tax in America, don't they?
Yeah, but it's not. I mean, we're getting
Texas isn't bad.
we're starting to be like you. It's really sad. You got all these young couples, and everybody's saying 2 years ago, this was half the price.
Yeah.
So we're starting to understand what you guys have been through.
Yeah.
And, we had no sympathy before. Sympathy's hard. You know what I mean? It's really,
Yeah.
but now we're kind of, I understand what it's going through, but we have these monster homes, and now we have to air condition them. We're having to become green.
Yeah.
And it's really hard because in Texas, everything honestly is bigger. It just,
Yeah.
our hamburgers are so much better than your hamburgers. You guys, I've been to your top-notch hamburger. I love London. I have friends in London. I'm like, you guys rebel and fight. And I don't know if you're vegetarians, but even veggie burger, everything, the sizes, you need to come over.
We used to have pizza by the slice.
Yeah. Oh, everything, the pizzas are this big. Everything is fun here. It's just fun.
Yeah. I remember going to Texas State Fair and a deep fried Coca-Cola, if you can believe that, Martin.
Oh yeah. Last year we had deep fried butter, which is I mean, we just do it.
How do you deep fried Coca-Cola?
I don't know how they do it, but it tastes pretty good.
Oh yeah, ice it up, and then we do everything like that. Yeah, it's deep fried everything. But last year it was butter, which really was a trick, I thought.
Yeah, I've had that. I've had deep fried butter. I had deep fried corn on the cob. That was my favorite. The deep fried corn on the cob.
Oh yeah, deep fried Milky Ways.
Yeah,
candy bars. Yeah,
we've had the Mars bars over here. What's the breaded with like white marshmallow in the middle that everybody says that? Like,
oh my god, the s'mores? Are you talking about s'mores?
No, they're in little wrappers, and people say like when it's the end of the world, like they'll be like these are things that people seem to eat after like a year or 5 years. Oh, what are they called?
Marshmallows are air. That's a waste of time. I can't take it.
I'm trying to think. I'm going to Google what they are. It's like a breaded treat.
Oh, Martin, I just found a picture of the deep fried Coke. I'm just going to put on the screen for you, just so you can have a look what it looks like.
See how good that is? It's like blue donuts of Coca-Cola.
Yeah,
we're geniuses when it comes to fattening food. There's no one like us, really.
No. Oh, but look, Beth, one of the things we do on this podcast at the beginning is we like to go back to the beginning, and the podcast is called Nobody Cares About Dad. So we like to explore people's relationships with their fathers. So yeah, what was it like for you growing up with your father?
Well, okay, so I am really, really old, and my father was even older. So I'm talking about like the early 60s. And my dad, we lived in New York, and you maybe have seen episodes of Mad Men, that TV show about the advertising with John Hamm. Okay, my dad was the poor man's John Hamm. Okay? He was so amazing. He would do anything for a free meal. He had to sell this huge printing press that was 3,000 pounds more than the new attractive models, and it cost more money. So he was an excellent salesman. And I had 3 brothers, and my mother was always upset. So my father just took me with him, not to the amusement park. I got in the car no matter where he went. And I think, all these dads are like, oh, we're going to the kid movie and we're going to the kid fun house. And I'm like, no, take your kid to the hardware store. I was bored with my life. I understood the movie, Dumbo. I got it. I wanted to see him in action. So he would take me to his office. If I had, I went to Catholic school, so I had millions of days off. And he would just say, do you want to go? And my older brother was afraid of him because my dad talked to everybody. And I jump on the train with him, go to the city, and he knew everybody because he got paid a salary and his entertainment salary was just as much. So people would come in from other cities and they'd want to meet Jack Parr, they'd want to meet Rodney Dangerfield, and my dad knew them. And that's how he sold these printing presses, because the guys would have so much fun, and he knew a lot of girls. And he was on the Lower West Side, Upper West Side, whatever, Germantown, and his best friend was this guy named Jimmy, and Jimmy was a dwarf. And he was his best friend because Jimmy would get them into the baseball games for free. He'd get them free meals. He knew how to play. And so he was great. So my dad hired him, and the two of them would go out on calls. And what Jimmy would do when he would meet somebody is he had a stutter. And it was a fake stutter, but he would stutter. And then the guys would go, "Oh my God, Jimmy, what are you selling? I'll buy it." And I'll just be like taking notes. We'd meet these women on the train, and they'd be like Irish grandmas, right? Or Italian, actually, was his favorite. Mm-hmm. We would go home with them because they would tell my dad about their Italian sausage or their the way they did green peppers. And we wouldn't go home. We'd go to her house. We got so many free meals. But if he'd just taken me to Dumbo, I would have never known him.
Yeah.
He didn't have to entertain me. He didn't buy me anything. He just had a job to do. And I got in the car. I helped him with his errands.
Yeah.
It's so much easier than always making it kid time,
Yeah.
I did enjoy kid time, but I certainly more enjoyed the adults aspect of life. So he was great. I love dads. I mean, if my parents were going to get a divorce, I was going to go with my dad. You guys don't get any credit for anything. Nothing. You're not treated like, when there's a divorce, if the guy gets half the time with the kid and it's a girl, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, how can he take care of a teenage girl?" Well, she gets better grades and she's less promiscuous, Like it's my dad did this thing that was so crazy. I got a little fat in high school, so you have to add that in. But I still had dates. And my father was a genius. He would befriend the guy. He didn't go, "You taking my daughter out." He was like, "Oh, Warren, you look like the nicest guy." And he'd sit down with the guy, listen to the guy's dreams, and the guy wouldn't touch me. He would not touch me. "I love your dad. Is your dad home?" He was
well, I think I'm taking note here.
Taking notes, Martin.
Mate, I'm writing them down. I've got two girls.
That was amazing.
I've got two girls. And
oh my God. And then he had this theory, like he was a great smoker too. Oh my God. The way he would light a lady's cigarette, it was kind of like Now Voyager with Betty Davis, like he had these seductive moves. And I told my mom when we all got married, I was like, "Mom, why don't you divorce him? He can come and live near me. I'll take him." And because she tormented him, she never liked anything he said. You know how it is. Yeah. And so she says to me like this, like she hated the fun he had. She hated the friends he had. Yeah. And so she said to me, my name is actually Mary Beth. Okay. And the way she said Mary ruined Mary for me. She'd go, "Oh, Mary, what a wonderful idea. Divorce your father and let someone else make him happy? I don't think so." I was like, you're like worse than the Wicked Witch. Daddy got out of the house. It's just like whatever fun he had, he deserved it. He was great. But yeah, I see these dads alone in the hardware store, the grocery store. I'm like, grab your kid,
Was that uncommon around among your friends, how your relationship was with your dad, or was that fairly common?
Oh, especially since I had 3 brothers, and he should have been with my brothers, and he started a Boy Scout troop, and I was a girl Boy Scout. I didn't really know how to be with girls. Right. I didn't think they were, and especially in my day, they were actually playing with Barbie, who once I found out Ken didn't have anything, I was out. You know what I mean? Like totally out of it. But boys were doing things, and he was doing things. My mother was baking. So, it was, to me, and I think girls are much more fun nowadays, much more fun. We didn't even have teams we could be on. Cheerleading.
Well, I was going to ask, did that affect your relationship with women as growing into as a teenager then?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I had I'd say really one best friend. And I just stuck with her. And then her big brother was our other best friend. So yeah, I had and then when I lost weight, it even got more complicated. Like women in my day, the competition was what you look like. Really. I mean, now, women didn't have jobs back in, like, there weren't preschools. It wasn't that world. In fact, you couldn't even get a checking account without your husband's signature.
Yeah.
That's how old I am. I mean, I've been watching you guys. I've been watching what's happening. And I just think you deserve a little more respect, And I don't think it's funny what people say. I mean, I think men take a lot of hits. I do. But I also think you get passive aggressive and you got a little cave you can go into. And I don't think you should push back like Johnny Depp or anything, but just a little.
Well, I was going to ask, have you been keeping up to date on that thing?
Oh yeah. And I'll tell you what the problem was with that, if you want to know the truth. And I'm speaking out of, tales out of school. All right. Don't think any woman wants to sign a prenup agreement. Do not believe her. She will get you back later. It is the most insulting thing you can do. And it makes a lot of sense. And I get it. But I guess I've seen 10 cases in my real life. It does not end well.
No.
You're pretty much stating to the woman that I don't think this is going to last.
Yeah. And to her family,
yeah.
And to the best friend. She's not really that great, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's I think you're going to take half. I think this isn't going to last. So I'm just covering my ass, which doesn't fill anybody with any confidence.
And it's humiliating. I think the biggest thing with girls is don't publicly humiliate her.
Mm.
You can privately humiliate her and she'll decide whether she wants to tell her friends. But if you publicly do something like that, and we've got this big thing in America where these couples are living together for 12 years, these girls are like ready to blow because it looks to their friends like he's still on the fence. You're still auditioning for the role. So is that me?
I don't think it's me.
Not me.
I have no idea where it is. let's just pretend that didn't happen. It could have been my dog's barking, which I'm expecting.
Probably Amber Heard saying, "Can you get into the court case and defend me? My lawyer's having a mare."
I'm not actually on her side.
Yeah.
Is
anyone? Is anyone?
I've not seen one Amber Heard positive comment or TikTok or Facebook. It's all been pro Johnny Depp.
I'll tell you something funny though. I did a play in Austin, and the guy who played Sam Houston had been on a movie with Amber Heard when she had one of her girlfriends. Okay, he said, and this was way before this ever happened. This was like 4 or 5 years ago, and we were just talking about a million things, not even about them. He said her magnetism, her sexual whatever, like chemistry, the guys were going nuts. And his wife was right with him. And she said, yeah, it was like, I was going nuts. She got Elon Musk. How does she do it? She's got something. And it's kind of ferocious. And the guys were kind of scared of it. But you know how it is with fire. You want to just get right in it, right?
Yeah.
So
I can get that, She's a very attractive woman, and
looks like she can do something that somebody else can't do.
Yeah.
I understand that though, because there are people that you meet where you go, fucking hell, the energy that person has, wow. But I think there's a with people like that though, there is I don't know how to articulate this properly, but when people talk about the fine line between insanity and greatness, right? Or I think with that kind of chemistry, there can also be a fine line between someone who's charismatic and amazing, but then is also psychotic.
Yes. Like it's just the pendulum swings, right?
Yeah.
just really on the edge.
Yeah.
And she had that. She had everybody coming and going at the same time.
Yeah.
So I have to factor that in. Like, why did Johnny Depp marry her? She's not that great looking. Let's face it. She's good.
No.
She's good. But and Elon Musk, how do you, he's got some different kind of girl in mind, that kind of spacey girl, you know? And then she's kind of straight up just blonde. She can do whatever she wants.
Yeah. What we refer to as a social climber in our other videos. We've discussed her in depth a little bit, and she certainly, I think Johnny Depp was a step in her career ladder. This is, because at the moment, up until this court case, she's come out of it smelling her roses. But this being so public now, and them going against each other, she's not looking good. So hopefully,
I think what I'd like to think it is people siding with Johnny, not because it's Johnny and everyone loves the character of Johnny Depp, but actually people can recognize the behaviors that she's portraying, how she's. So I said it to you on our chat, Martin. I've got a friend who's been in a very similar relationship to Amber Heard and Johnny, and to the outside world, she looked like 5 foot tall, beautiful girl. Like, but I've seen her going mental. Like, I can see that she's the aggressor. And I recognize in their relationship something that I've seen in someone else's, and I think that's what a lot of people can probably see with this case.
And I hope it does do us men a justice, because there are a lot of men out there there are a lot of scumbags out there that overstep, and the full book should be. But there are a lot of guys out there that do fall victim to lies, and look at how Amber Heard has acted. If we didn't see any of the evidence, you would probably go, yeah, he was sniffing cocaine, he was drinking.
Well, you just have to go back to 2016 when she first gave that evidence, and that's what everybody did, and that's why Johnny was cancelled, because they hadn't seen all the stuff that came after it.
Yeah, and I think my dad was emotionally abused, because I took him out of it. Something very, very bad happened. I took him out of it, and he wanted to go back. She, like nibbled to death by ducks, or paper cutted to death. You know what I mean? She never let up on the guy. He couldn't chew properly. It was like, God, it's exhausting. And that's what she was doing to him. So I have great sympathy, and I think you do. Like, one time, my dad, we're in the bedroom and everything's great, and she's just Matt, like that. He turns around.
She sounds like my wife.
It was years, okay? And it was February in New York, so it was snowy.
Yeah.
And we had a big old house, and he put his fist through a wall that was like 8 inches thick, because it was an old house, just right through it. And then he just left the room. Like, that whole thing with the cabinets, what I mean? Like, but it was shocking, because he didn't say anything, and he didn't even change expression.
Did they break up then, Beth, your parents, eventually, or?
Oh no, they never divorced. They never.
No. Because I see this a lot with friends here. And do you think there was an element of? So for me, for men here, I find that a lot of men don't want to leave because they don't want to lose access to their children and the relationships that they have with their children, or maybe they have a fear of somebody else bringing up their kids. Do you think there was an element of that, or was he always was he madly in love? What do you think? What do you think it was?
I think he definitely didn't want to leave her with the children.
Yeah.
I think he definitely didn't have enough money. Okay, so back in our day, when a guy got a divorce, it wasn't 50-50. It was, you keep her in that house and you sleep in your car. And that, he was doing better than that, but the house we had was expensive. And she was a spender. So she would like hide clothes underneath the bed, and she kept him kind of, he didn't have a good savings account. Let's put it that way.
Sure.
And I do think in some way, everybody stayed married back then. That was his wife, you know? And you know, I don't know what he did. He'd come home pretty late sometimes. If I don't know what he did. She.
We all know what he did.
I know he spent a lot of money. I know if it wasn't his money, if it was the company's money, he would entertain you like nobody's business.
Yeah.
If it was his money, you were splitting a ham sandwich. He was a very, very complicated guy. You know? So I like to go out with him when he was entertaining, because this Johnny Depp thing is interesting. Everybody's talking about it.
It's a different generational thing, though, isn't it? These days, you know, even going back just as far as my parents, they stuck it out for a long time. My grandparents, they stuck it out. You know, you know, we're talking about that they met young and were together until they died.
Wow.
It's so easy to walk away today, though, isn't it? It's just so easy to just move on.
Yeah, it's.
I can tell you a secret. Okay, this is a really good one.
Well,
okay,
if you tell us a secret, it is going to go out to a lot of people on the podcast.
Yeah, but it's a good. You can't get to me. So, so anyway, okay. I've been married for 46 years. Okay, so I got married at 21. I was crazy in my 20s.
Are you happily married?
Oh yeah. Well, like
we asked.
Many of these years have been spectacular. Yeah, you know, no, we had a great chemistry. I will say.
Yeah.
Like we got married in 3 months, so it was kind of a crazy scene. But we had major fights. And we went to marriage counseling. And because of my parents, I didn't know that there was a word called compromise. I thought it was death or live, you know? So I had a lot of learning to do. But now that we're so old, oh my God, it's like we're two lemmings. We're heading towards the edge of the cliff. We don't fight anymore. There's no divorce. Somebody's going to die. We're like so in love. And we have the, you know, kids, we have the history. And we almost called it quits a couple of times. And you see these older couples in there. Once we went on this cruise, I saw all these happily together couples, right? Went up to every single one of them. You know, it was a cruise all the way to Europe. So I had plenty of time. And the ones that were happy were not married. It was second marriages, second relationships. But the thing is, you don't have any hormones. You don't care. You're like a 4-year-old. You know how your 4-year-old just hands over the lollipop? It's like, no, it's like all that raging testosterone and estrogen. Oh my God. So don't divorce her. Just, you know, it's going to get better.
Bide your time.
Yeah. And then somebody's going to get sick, like, you know, and you're going to go, oh my God, I love you so much. And the other thing is, so I do see these guys, right? They got a divorce from their wife. Maybe your wife, you got to have her for like 20 years. If she's going to take care of you.
I've only got 5 more to go then.
Yeah, 5 more to go. Because if you get sick and so like my father-in-law lived in this place called Hilton Head. These women wouldn't marry these guys because they didn't want to take care of them when they got sick. Yeah. You know, you got to think about this. You need to have a nice place to fall apart. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's.
Well, it's funny though. So I live in Cheshire. I don't know if you know the UK at all, but so Cheshire. I don't know that. Cheshire would probably, if I equate it to where you are, maybe like, you know, the nice part of Long Island, not quite the Hamptons, but you know.
Oh my gosh, Long Island. That's where I'm from. Yeah, like Washington or My
friend lives in. What's is it? I can never pronounce the Indian names, but is it Pachaqua or
Yeah, I know where he is. Oh, he's in a gorgeous section.
Yeah, it's stunning. So that's sort of like where I live here. Good. And now the women, but the women around here. So I've got a friend who she's got this rule where she won't date anyone that doesn't earn £250,000 a year. But she always says, my mum taught me that you marry first for money and second for love.
No, don't do that.
That's what
you gotta sleep with this guy every single night. Let's try to make that like a top priority. Oh, it's such a mistake. I hate that kind of talk.
But you see that so much around here. Like you really do.
I feel sorry for you guys because she's telling you, oh, I can't wait till we get married. I can't wait. You know, I told my boys, I said, look.
Prenup.
You're going to think when you see a girl and she's easy, it might actually be that she just can't keep her hands off of you. You be careful about this one. You know, this virtuous girl that can keep her hands off you, that's not exactly the right thing. You might, you know, and a girl that makes a mistake and she's just like, I can't believe I did that. That's the one you want to marry.
Yeah.
No.
It depends what that mistake was, I guess.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know,
There's a lot of women that can't keep their hands off men.
I mean, you know, yeah, she didn't rob a bank. She, you know, but you don't want to marry a girl that can like see you tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And men are taught that. You guys are taught these stupid things. Like that is just dumb. And she's not easy. She's just into you. You know? Yeah. Like I'll tell you, everything's so messed up. It's just.
Well, Martin, you're in the dating game these days. You're a single man looking for.
No, I'm not looking.
You know,
I don't want a partner. I don't want a relationship. I am sick to the back teeth for them.
I don't blame you. I don't know how people keep doing it.
these people that get married like 4 times. I'm like, are you mental? Like I always said, I've been married 5 years this month. I've been with my missus.
Married? No, you've been happily married 5 years.
I've been married 5 years.
Like 4 of them have been fantastic.
Yeah, but we've been together 15. I completely lost my train of thought where I was going with that.
Ask her what happened. What happened? What was the big moment after 10 years that?
She threatened. I
remember. I'll answer that in a second. But I remember where I was going. And I've lost it again. Basically, why did I wait that long? Well, we had an issue. So when we first got together, neither of us wanted children. So like, I remember one of our first dates. We were like, "Yep, I don't want kids. You don't want kids. This is perfect."
Oh,
and then
everybody says that.
And then it got to the point where I was like, "Actually, I want to have children." And she was like, "I don't want to have kids." And she said that up until we had Leo, pretty much. But then we got to sort of 10 years, and I was like, "Look, this is it." So I'm 37, so I was like 31, 32, and I was just like, look, this is going to be a deal breaker now, whether we have children or not. And then she basically put in a load of stumbling blocks. So she was like, right, okay, well, I want to own our own house and I want to get married first. I was like, I didn't really have a job that paid great at the time. So I was like, well, how am I going to? I was like, she was just sort of batting it down the road. I was like, right, okay. So I just used it as motivation. I was like, right, get a better job, got a better job, right, buy the house, right, boom, get married, boom. And then as soon as we got married, I was like, you're coming off the pill. That's it. You're off it. And the wedding night was the last night. She was taking the pill, and then thankfully we got pregnant within.
I'm so glad you didn't have any trouble. My
3 months. 3 months it was.
Oh,
and
wow.
You train of 4.
After all your hard work, you deserve that.
I know, yeah.
You should tell your son that story, that you were the one that wanted kids.
Yeah. Your mother didn't want your son.
And then she had the baby, and she's like over the moon about the baby, right?
Yeah.
Those are the ones that go, they fall the furthest, the ones who say, I don't want it.
But she won't. I want another one, and she doesn't want another one. So that's.
Why don't you buy her like a diamond ring or something? Like, obviously, this is a negotiating.
Yeah, I think it's a pony or another horse. I think would do it. Might do the trick.
Well, you look at these things in America, at least, and I don't know about America, but only children are amazing. They're like astronauts. So if it does happen that you don't get the second one, this little guy of yours is going to be like amazing because he's talking to adults all the time. He's not picking his nose with his friend watching the cartoon 8,000 times. It's like he's a smarter dude. So, but I hope you do. I hope you get another one.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Back to train of thought. People getting married more than once.
Oh yeah. So yeah, remember now. Yeah. I always said I'll get married once and that's it. So even if we break up, I'll just never do it. I'll never do it again, ever.
I'm not married. I've never been married. I don't really think I want to get married, but I might meet somebody and I'm 40 next year. My mind might change, but it's an expensive day. And I'm like, why do people want to be doing that 4 or 5 times? Like, they've
obviously got a lot of money. People have a lot of money to do that.
50 to 100K.
Well, it's each girl you get wants to do it. Like, I'm a second wife, So, but I didn't really care because we were getting married really fast, and the kid wasn't Catholic, and my mother was all a mess about that. But most people, the girl, if it's her first wedding, she wants the whole enchilada. And in America, it is like Christmas 20 times over. All the stuff she gets, it's amazing. So you can't, I think that's the reason.
Do you know, I have a bone to pick with American weddings, actually. So my friend got married in Dallas to a Texan lady, and it was honestly one of the worst weddings I've ever been to in my whole entire life.
Why?
Now, Martin, you might be amazed to hear this, because in America, apparently you'll be able to tell me if this is a thing or not, Beth. But they have daytime weddings in America where they just end in the daytime and there's no nighttime do, right? So in England,
cheap.
So in England, it's all about the party, right? So you get married, we don't care about the wedding, we just want to have the party. So my friend got married. It was by this lake. It was beautiful. You know, it was outdoors. We went back to this barn, had some food. About 6 o'clock, I started to loosen up a little bit. I started on the iced teas, and then I got onto the vodka.
Yeah, good.
Started to get a loose on the dance floor. Lights come up. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Off you go. All the English guys were like, "What? What?"
That is terrible, because people flew in for that. That's terrible. And I guess it was cheap, but you know, the thing I like about British people is the way you drink hard liquor and then you dance. You really do. You really do. You know, Americans are a little bit uncomfortable about the whole thing, but that when you invite people from other cities, I think you should give them a night like the rehearsal dinner, the wedding, and then breakfast the next day, because they spent like $800 on this.
Yeah,
on the gift.
I don't know about anybody else, but I do my utmost to avoid the wedding and just go to the parties. Like, what I can come to? No. What part? I'm there. Save me a table. I don't want to sit down and listen to people talk speeches, and I'm not interested in that. And overpriced meals.
Oh no, I do like the speech. The speeches are my favorite. I must admit.
Oh God, except when they're very like, posh. Is that the word? Like, oh my God, they're funny when they're funny. But I've been to
want to hear about the groom getting naked in Amsterdam or something like that. Not about how it was great.
God, my father-in-law. Oh my God, he took half an hour with his speech. We were all like, "Oh my God, come on, Mum."
Was he talking about how wonderful his daughter was?
A little bit, and then he started talking about
30 seconds.
So we got married funnily enough, we actually got married in the same hotel as sorry, that's a lie. We got married. So there's two hotels, Mia and the Stanleylands, and they're owned by the same family. Mm-hmm. And my mother-in-law and father-in-law got married in one hotel, and we got married in another hotel. And he just went on to tell this story about like how it was the same hotel family, and we were just like,
oh God. And he goes, I don't like that. I like it when they tell embarrassing stories that are funny, because then I love the guy. You know, it's like I can't. Yeah, we have a lot of those like congratulate, and then they act like they're saying, "Oh well, I went to Harvard, but anybody could get in." That's stupid.
Yeah.
Wow. I like Irish wedding. I like Irish people for this reason. I like how they
alcohol.
Oh, I do. They're just like, if they drink enough, they're funny. Even if funerals are funny.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear how great you are. One time I went to one, and this guy came from Scotland with his family, right? And he brings his sword from his family. Okay, I'm like, this will be fun. But no, it was like it was like we were all present when Robert the Bruce took the, do this to people. It's not fair. I don't care.
I just want to go to the parties.
When did you leave New York then, Beth? Well, how long have you been in New York?
I've been in Texas, oh my God, since I was 19, and I went to work for Stanley Marcus at Neiman Marcus, and I didn't blend because I'm loud, and I want to laugh, and everything I do is wrong, because Texas girls are pretty. You know what I mean? They really are.
Yeah,
so I've been here for like, I don't know, 50 years and I'm still not blending. It's like all my friends are from New Jersey. It's like we're these outliers, and they seat us at tables in the back of the restaurant. And
it's funny because my friend, all his friends are from the UK. So he lives in Houston, and all his friends are not American. They're all
it's hard. It's hard. I mean, I love them and we get along great, but I guess it's a sense of humor thing, or
100%.
Yeah. But oh no, the girls in Texas are great.
Do you know, I went when we went to my friend's wedding in Texas. I had a problem with the air conditioning in our hotel, and I went to it wasn't working, right? So I went to
that's a problem.
yeah, and it was like 35 degrees Celsius. I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit, but it's warm. Anyway, I went to reception and I was like, "Excuse me, the air conditioning unit isn't working. Can you help me, please?" And she was a what's the word? Probably Spanish, Mexican.
Yeah. Cute as a button, I'm sure.
Yeah. Anyway, she spoke back to me English. It was definitely English words, but I remember going to her. I'm sorry. I said, I know you're speaking English, but I don't understand the words you just said to me.
Spanglish, Spanish English. It's Spanglish, and it's very fast, and you just.
It was like, was it Descartes that said about if a lion spoke English, you would not understand it because you just couldn't understand the context he was talking in. That was literally the conversation I was having with this lady. I was like, I recognized the words, but they just didn't make any sense.
You need to do sign language, just like sweating,
Yeah.
No, it's and really there are dialects here that I don't even get, and they don't like my voice, like they don't like. I'm not. I should sue that. I should. In fact, at Neiman's they would say, just fold and refold sweaters. Breathe through your nose. Just. They didn't even like my smile because it was it wasn't pretty. There's this pretty girl thing that I just missed because I was with my dad, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just don't have the chops, the girl chops. I'm not coy. Coy is like, oh my God, and the girls in Dallas and in Houston were coy.
The sense of humor thing it's very different from the British side. I think Americans that have been to the UK tend to understand it. But I remember my friend's wife, Trin. I remember we were driving into New York. She drove us into New York for the day, right? And I was just having a conversation with Dan, and I was saying, about this guy, he's really taking the piss. And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, he's taking the piss." And she went, "What? Like he's getting his knob out and having a piss?" I was like, No, Trin. He's taking the mick.
What does it mean?
Taking the piss means like taking the mick out, like you're poking fun, like you're
I was taking a piss. I'm right now, Trin. And I was like, fine, that's fine.
It's very common here. You'd be like, "You taking the piss, mate? Like, are you joking?" Like,
No. Oh my God. No, that one, we really should have like, when we go to foreign countries that speak English, there should still be the book on translations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you can get in some trouble.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I remember being on holiday in the Dominican, and the big Texan guy was in the pool, and I always like to talk to Americans because I find them fascinating. But I remember started chatting away to him. He was like, "Oh, I love your accent," and I said, "I don't have an accent." He said, "I don't know your accent." I said, "No, this is the way English is supposed to be spoken. You're the one with the accent."
It's true. But if you came to Texas with that accent, we believe you are right.
Yeah.
And we believe like JFK with his Boston accent, like you could sell ice to the Eskimos in Texas.
Yeah. Well, I remember we got on a plane from Dallas, Fort Worth to Vegas. My friend was having his stag do in Vegas, and we were walking down the plane, and I'll never forget these two young girls who were like 14 or 15. They were like, "Oh my God, there's British people on the plane." I'm like, "Yes, darling. Yes, we are very British."
They don't get out much. Not those girls.
No. Have you mentioned being a playwright? So love to talk about that. Yeah, talk us a little bit about the sort of stuff you've done.
The playwriting actually isn't hard to get done because I live in the town and you can knock on the door and you can hound people into doing it. The screenwriting, the 33 years of screenwriting has been hard, but my closest success, almost, my brass ring, had it in my hand, was Eric Clapton. And what happened was, I have this group of girlfriends, and we were raising our kids together and trying to keep beer out of third grade or whatever, so like a lot of work to do with these boys. And it was a group of like 6 women, and we got together every week, and we got to talking around 40, and it was like, what haven't we done? None of us had seen Eric Clapton, okay, in concert. Big mistake. So we decided we were going to go to a concert, but then we decided it would be even better to meet him. And at the time, he had a rehab center in the Caribbean called Crossroads. So we decided that we would test positive for drugs and go to the rehab center. And one of us is married to a psychiatrist. So we had this like all ready to go. We were ready to do it. And one of the girls said, it's wrong. I'm like, God, it is wrong. So they said, why don't you write it up as a screenplay? So it became Pursuing Eric. And it was about these 4 girls. And it was taken by a British producer, Avenue Pictures. And he said, can you make the girls British? I'm like, sure. So we had these 4 girls. And what we did was, one of the girls was married to a doctor who went into private practice, and all the songs got twisted up. Like Layla, he was gorgeous at 42. She was kind of overweight. So he had her on her knees. Like all the songs just got this, what happens as you age. Right. So, and we tried all these different ways in the story to meet Eric Clapton, and every single one of them failed, but it got to Eric, and he liked it. And he said, he had Mark Andrews or something was his lawyer. He didn't have an agent. They were going to take it to Warner Brothers for me and get a green light. So
wow.
Like, he was like, just don't make me come to the premiere. We're like, fine, because you shouldn't, because we're pursuing you and we can't catch you.
Yeah.
So he takes it over, and he was also in a little bit of trouble not doing enough live performances because he had 3 little girls and he wanted to be a great dad, right? So he gets over there. Warner Brothers goes to music. They're talking. He's got it on his lap. The guy goes, what else are you here for? And he says, well, I'm taking this over to movies. It's called Pursuing Eric. It's a movie I want to help get made. And the guy said, you can't do it. You're an icon. Couldn't believe it. So I get this letter from Eric and his lawyer that says, you will not believe it, the only time in his entire life, Eric has decided to err on the side of caution. Oh my God, that is so horrible for me.
Yeah.
And he was going to get the girls from the East Enders to be in it and all his friends. And such a close call. Then I had with Peter Font. Like, it's really hard to get to the finish line if you're not married to like Tom Cruise or somebody.
Yeah.
So, but it's still fascinating, and I have a new one, and it's gonna get creamed. The other thing that creams you nowadays is political correctness, or like I had one about the wolves being reintroduced at Yellowstone, and it was kind of like an animation thing, and it's been amazing transformation of the whole place. And a group of people who like wolves and don't like wolves, and it was going to be a boycott. You see what I mean? Like, that's why it's all Despicable Me and these characters that aren't real, because you can't afford to have a boycott on the internet.
No.
So it's getting a little more difficult. And the new one I wrote, I can definitely see how it's going to fail, but it's still fascinating, to just keep trying. So yeah, that's my thing. I do want to tell you guys the thing that I wanted to tell you. Okay. So in the Wall Street Journal, there's this article that never happens. Okay. And the Wall Street Journal in our city is a magazine for guys, and it's about money. And I was been telling my husband for 46 years, you guys care about your money so much, but you never read about divorce. You never figure it out.
Yeah.
Money goes out the window every time. This is the first article about marriage, and it's self-help for men. And it says this one thing that men do which is because you're raised to do it. You hurt your girlfriend or your wife and you say, I didn't mean it. And really, she doesn't care. She wants you to think about how hurt she is. But you were raised like when you played football, get up. Or, it doesn't hurt if you didn't mean it, is how you were raised. That's not how she was raised. And I'm like, that's the key to it. And so he wants to bring it to grammar schools where little boys have to sit down, and he calls it emotional empathy. You got to learn to do it like a girl if you want to marry a girl. You know what I mean? So it's like all of a sudden you guys are getting savvy about how to keep her happy. And this is a secret, and that's really the truth. I will say I had that fight for 20 years. He said, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to kill you. It's hard. Being married is hard because you marry an opposite who was raised completely differently than you.
Yeah.
Or here in the UK in Cheshire, just pay. Just have lots of money. Well,
me and my wife talk about this. Me and my wife are polar opposites, complete opposites. We grew up. I always say she was born with a silver spoon in her mouth. I was born with nothing. So our perspective on life is very, very different. We do well now, but for me, she's always had that. Whereas me, I'm new to it. So my perspective of, like, I'll give you a really simple example of what I'm talking about. And she doesn't listen to this anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I remember on her hen do, she was, you're organising it. You say, right, I need £50 from everybody as a deposit so we can book it all, blah, blah. And the people were like, some people would pay, and then other people were like, I haven't quite got the money, or come but she couldn't grasp how somebody couldn't just have 50 quid. Exactly. And I was like, but some people don't have money. Like, people have to save, and people don't earn a lot of money. But she just couldn't. But she's like, it's just 50 quid. Like, how could you not have 50 quid? Yeah. But because she's always had it, yeah. she's never understood that people don't have it.
And then you throw money at things like somebody's upset, so they go to therapy or get a spa treatment. Like, there's these answers that people don't have. Like, poor people will just go out and try to buy 3 beers or something. You know what I mean? It's just a whole different way of dealing with trouble too.
Yeah.
It's really, but there's probably a lot of chemistry and,
Yeah, well, I think I've described this before. I think we both come at parenting from a very different angle, but we all try to get to the same end goal, which is why I think it kind of works.
I think that's nature's way, because I've seen couples that, like, really genius couples, and they both think the same way. The kid doesn't have a chance to be anything else. Like, if you're opposites, then your child has this option to grow. I'll take this from you and that from you. And it's a much better way to be a kid. You know? Like, maybe, these couples that are alike, I don't even know how they can.
Well, I know what you mean. Like, this isn't to talk bad on one of the previous guests we had, because I think she was brilliant. But do you remember the last guest, Martin, we had? Where she was a scientist, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Her son is going to be a scientist. Like, the way, like, so they're both science people. They're teaching this kid, and this kid is now questioning things, and he is a little scientist. So he is just going to go one way and become a
he
scientist.
He wants to be a ballet dancer. He won't tell anybody. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Yeah.
It's like, it's too hard. It really is. So my children are adopted, which is amazing, because they were like, I mean, just tell me what you want. You know what I mean? Like, what did you come here to do? And I wish everybody would do that with every kid, just because this, genetics aren't the end all be all. No. And that kid could turn out to be a scientist, and at 40 say, what the hell happened to me? You know, like, you should be able to fail. That's the other thing. People don't fail enough anymore. Failure is amazing. It teaches you had to try it.
Yeah. Well, I remember, and I really need to cut this. I really need to finish this in a second, but I just wanted to make a point on that. So I used to do theatre. So I was a performer.
Really? Wow.
I performed in New York. I performed in London.
What did you win? I go to New York all the time to do theatre.
I was in Fame.
Oh my! You won what?
Fame.
Oh, give me a break. Are you serious? Why don't you tell me that right away? I would have treated you differently. I would have been better.
Yeah,
we haven't put your Peter Pan picture up on any of the podcasts yet, have we?
Peter Pan.
Is it Peter Pan? I'm sure you sent me a picture of you dressed as Peter Pan or Robin Hood.
No, I was Aladdin. I was Aladdin, and I was Joseph in Joseph. But
oh my God! No, I'm going to look you up. Oh my God!
But the point I was going to make is that
you don't have to now.
But you go to audition. You go to a lot of auditions, and you fail a lot. I never forget. I remember I was doing Aladdin at the theatre in Gainsborough over here, and I was ill. I was 17, I think, at the time, and I was doing Aladdin. And this was before celebrities were doing pantos, because that's the thing now, isn't it? Celebrities all do pantos.
So sick of them. They take every job.
Yeah. So that wasn't even a thing back when I was doing it. And I remember I went on stage and I sort of just stepped through it. And the director, she stopped the show and she was like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I don't feel great. And she's like, if you're not going to do your best, get off my fucking stage. And I was like, wow. This is like a rehearsal. Like, it's just rehearsal. But she's like, if you're not going to get on stage and give me 100%, fucking don't get on stage. Get off it. And but I remember. So when I did Fame in America, I came back to the UK, and the local council asked me to put on Fame for kids aged 12 to 18. So that's what I did. But I sat everyone down in the audition, and I said, if we're going to do this, it's going to be, I'm going to treat you the way it actually is. It's not going to be like a school play where everyone's like nice.
You're going to yell at them. Good.
I'm going to yell at them. And if you forget your words, you're going to go back and learn it. And that's the way I went into that. It was, I'm going to treat you the way I was treated. And if you don't like it, don't be here.
Here is a great.
How did that work out?
Yeah.
That
is a great way to learn. You learn so you don't get yelled at. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Wow. So you were, I'm such a starstruck gal, but okay. So was it fun? Was it like a dream come true?
Yeah, loved, absolutely. Do you know what I always say, right? And believe this or not, because the roles I've managed to get, I was so lucky. Like I was so lucky. I would be lucky if I got the role. You had talent. I did, but there was just like all the planets aligned. We were doing the touring show in the UK, and the director had a friend over from America, and he was like, I'm going to get him in, help with the accents. He's going to help. And he was a casting director, and he said, look, we're doing the show in the fall in New York. Do you want to come and audition? And we were like, well, it's a long way to go for an audition. He was like, look, if you come, you'll get the part. So we literally went from the touring show in the UK over to America, and it was literally, I honestly, if that casting director hadn't been a friend of the director who just happened to be at the show in London at the time, it never happened.
Did you have a great time, like after hours and
amazing?
New York is my favorite. When I get to New York,
I love New York.
The plays are coming now, which are kind of fascinating. A new one about the Irish and the Black people in 1868 and how they went to this club together. And that's where tap dancing was formed. It's called Paradise. Oh, wow. Really cool stuff. I do have to say something. I have to apologize. I've got a software update on Matt's face and I can't see him at this point. Like for the past, I would have been looking at you. And I've been pressing, have you been noticing I've been pressing like cancel, okay. So anyway, that's what happened with that. But did you just love, memories of New York running around?
Well, do you know what the worst part was? I was 18, so I couldn't drink.
Oh, well, I could have gotten you help. All you needed was a fake ID.
Well, you guys have this thing called, I don't know if you still had it, but dip and sip. Yeah. So you could go into the bars and the clubs, but you can't drink.
If you were a girl, you could have, because they handed you drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was much easier. You were the wrong sex for that one.
Yeah.
Didn't you just love like 3:00 in the morning? Just walking,
yeah, it's one of my favorite cities in the world, New York. I absolutely love it.
I would, if I was rich, I would so have an apartment in New York, and I'd loan it to all my friends. In fact, I'd probably tell you I have an apartment in New York. I'd be so popular with everyone. Because why not? Why should it be empty, right?
Yeah.
It's like God just didn't give the right person the money. I have thought about it. I would be the most generous, most wonderful millionaire, billionaire. And
Well, look, if I win the Euro Millions tonight,
yeah, you're going to give him some and me some.
yeah, I'll get that apartment in New
You're
York.
talking about
All right, all right. We'll just spend it all in one night. Oh my God! Like Nick Cage spent 125 million bucks. Nicolas Cage on everything. His new movie's great, but he married 5 times, but $125 million. He bought mausoleums, he bought castles, he bought prehistoric bones. I don't want to be that crazy. I don't want to be that crazy. Yeah. No. I'll rein it back a little bit, okay?
I've never crossed my fingers so much for somebody to win the Euro Millions in all my life.
Beth, look, we're gonna have to end it there. Full disclosure, I'm going to go and play football tonight. So,
good. Was that cold? Okay.
Yeah. But look, I've really enjoyed this chat. Like it's been fantastic. I'd love to have you on again at some point.
I'd love to come back sometime. You guys were so fun. It was great and really so entertaining. There's no moment where it isn't fun. Okay.
I appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
No,
right. Take it easy, guys.
Take care. I'm going to look you up now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye.